Sorry.
But no. So I wanted to do the questions. I had opened them up, but I don't know if. Just tell me if you have any. If you get stuck. This was what we did last time. For who is the nectar of devotion specifically presented? Do you know the answer? The meaning of the words Rupanuga is Rasa, Chapala Sukha, Bhoga, Tyaga, and Amrit. What is Lord Chaitanya's universal principle? What is Lord Chaitanya's universal principle?
To spread the holy name in all the villages and the towns, to give freely the Harinam.
Yeah, it's very nice. So, to never forget Krishna, to always remember Krishna. That's what Rupa Goswami Prabhupada has been propagating. But yes, very nice. Example, Srila Rupa Goswami said for devotees and for humanity in general. What is the example?
He distributed that 50% of his wealth
Yes.
to Vaishnavas, 25% to his relatives, and 25% he kept for emergency
Yes, right.
purposes for himself.
Where did Srila Rupa Goswami first meet Lord Chaitanya?
Prayagraj.
Nice. Okay, list 12 rasas, English meaning of pravarti and nivritti, English meaning of the word anushilan. Anushilana, it should be anushilana, yeah. What does the term jnana karma adi refer to? You stop me if you don't know. How is the nectar of devotion basically structured and what section do we study? Yeah, how is it structured?
Into 4 Vibhaga, Mataji, East, West, North, South, and we are studying East section.
And
Purva Vibhaga.
very nice. And how many waves are there in the eastern part?
4.
Very good. Introduction, what unusual creatures are acharyas compared to and why? What is the unusual creature they are compared to?
Shark, no, Mataji.
Makara. Makara is
Yeah.
shark-like, not quite shark. Makara.
Shark.
Based upon the verse Anyabhilashita Shunyam, what are the 3 primary characteristics of your devotional service and 2 secondary characteristics? You have to know this. You have to know the verse, you have to know the answer, you have to know everything about this verse.
Mataji, I have a doubt about that.
Yeah.
The 3 primary characteristics are Swarupa Lakshana, no, Mataji. That is,
Yeah, that's a Sanskrit, the primary characteristic. Yeah.
Anukulena Krishna Anushilana. That is only 2, no, Mataji. There is just 3.
No, 3. Did you get this book? 1 second. No, I can open my notes at the end. Just remind me, okay? I have written my answers for these questions, and then there are 3. 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. List them. 4 effects that are due to sinful activities. For example,
And that also I have a doubt, Mataji. 4 effects.
Yeah, what is the doubt?
Is it the effect which is lying as seed, which is not yet fructified, which is almost mature and already mature? Is that it?
It basically is asking the kutam, and what was the other one? The lying as beach. Then prarabdh.
Bijam, papam, kutam.
Bijam, say again.
First is avidya, which leads to bijam. Then it leads to papam. Papam leads to either aprarabdha or prarabdha. And if it is aprarabdha, it leads to kudam or sinful disposition, which again leads to bijam. That cycle, Nomadaji.
Yeah, I'm showing it to you. And then it becomes the prarabdha. So sinful activity leads to aprarabdha, kutam, and prarabdha. And also leads to bija. So sinful activity is here, right? Papam is sinful activity, Mataji, and then leads to aprarabdha.
Yes,
aprarabdha can mature into prarabdha or can continue as kutam or sinful disposition and then bija or desire. And the root cause is ignorance. Got it?
okay, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
What does the comparison between mystic perfection and modern scientific improvements indicate? Yeah, what does it indicate? Most of the mystic perfections have already been achieved by modern scientific improvements, right? Because, for example, flying in the air or going through mountains or stones. Not everything, Prabhupada says not everything, but most of the them are like achieved. So this is not the aim of life. Prabhupada mentioned in some detail in the first chapter the 8 mystic perfections that a yogi can attain. What is the main point he's making in referencing these yogic perfection? Yeah, what's the main point? What's the main point Prabhupada is saying when he's listing the 8 mystic perfections?
And we don't aim for any of these mystic perfections. That's not our goal.
Yeah, very nice. So the 8 mystic perfections is not the end goal of pure devotional service. The end goal of human life is pure devotional service. Why does Krishna rarely agree to offer devotional service, a soul devotional service? List 3 sources of happiness according to analysis of Sri Rupa Goswami. What are the 3 sources of happiness?
Material, spiritual, and devotional.
Material, and when one gets
Spiritual,
then Brahman realization, not spiritual,
Brahman,
and then pure devotional service. Happiness derived out of pure devotional service, happiness derived out of Brahman realization, happiness derived out of materialistic dispositions. Okay, meaning of the word Madan Mohan Mohini. I think we all know that. Compassion given in this first chapter of Nectar Devotion to devotional service and sinful activities. What is the comparison given in this first chapter of NOD to devotional service and sinful activities? What is the
is it
Snan,
blazing
Hasti
fire,
It is none.
blazing fire which destroys the sinful reactions into ashes.
Oh yeah, okay. The power of devotional service is so powerful that it actually can eat away like all the fuel that is supplied to it to ashes.
Yes,
Okay.
Mataji, Mataji, the question number 15, I don't know. There's 4 examples.
Yes, Mataji, I told you have to go and look at your handbook and analogies. Okay.
Oh, okay, okay.
You have to look at the analogies.
Okay.
And the answer is very easy. He says if somebody is uneducated, is bound in legal complications, or has a body which is not very good, or what else? He's chronic disease. If somebody is suffering from chronic disease, he's giving 4 examples of mature sinful reactions. Those are the examples, right?
Okay, okay.
Okay, let's go to this chapter. Now we start. Prabhupada has spent from chapter 2 to chapter 16 the bulk of what we are going to study. We're going to study only first 19 chapters. So we have to understand so many chapters have been spent just to explain the second wave of the Eastern side, which is sadhana bhakti. Okay, so there are too many analytical details explained, but this particular chapter and chapter 3 form the foundation of what is sadhana bhakti. So I think I want to show you this slide here first. So we studied that there are 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. Kleshagni means it removes all the things which are klesha or inadequate or sinful. Then Shubda brings all auspiciousness. Moksha Lagukrit, it actually defeats the concept of liberation. Sudurlabha, very rarely achieved. Sudrananda Visheshatma becomes exceedingly happy. Shri Krishna Akarshani, which it even attracts Krishna. So according to, there are 3 types of bhakti. Sadhana bhakti, there are three types of bhakti: sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, prema bhakti. For the sake of our understanding, this is how Prabhupada and Rupa Goswami Prabhupada have discussed. So for the next few chapters until chapter 16, sadhana bhakti is discussed. Sadhana bhakti leads to kleshagni and shubda. It just means that out of all the 6 characteristics, first 2 characteristics are very difficult to achieve. Okay, it's like, the 9 stages of bhakti. What are the 9 stages of bhakti? Shraddha, sadhusanga, bhajan kriya, anartha nivritti, and then ruchi, then nishtha, then bhava, then prema. Am I right? So in all those stages, if you study, Mataji,
Nishtha then Ruchi, no Mataji.
nishtha, ruchi, bhava, prema. Okay. So on all those stages, if we study, it is an uphill journey until anartha nivritti. Like one has to work against, one has to put a lot of effort. And after anartha nivritti, devotional service becomes one's second nature. Okay, this is how it's divided. That so out of all the 6 characteristics, klesha, agni, and shubda is something which gives one a jump start. Sadhana bhakti gives a jump start, and after the jump start is there, the engine runs on its own. Or bhava bhakti and prema bhakti are like in continuation. Making sense? Okay, now sadhana bhakti or devotional service in practice. We'll go here. So these are the types of uttama bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is a bhakti which is bhakti in practice. Bhava bhakti is bhakti in ecstasy, and prema bhakti is bhakti in pure love. So the question arises: sadhana bhakti has 2 further characteristics. Bhava bhakti has 4 further characteristics. Prema bhakti has 6 further characteristics. So sadhana bhakti and bhava bhakti. So sadhana bhakti is of further 2 types. What are the further 2 types?
Vaidhi sadhana bhakti and Raganuga sadhana bhakti.
Very nice. Vedehi sadhana bhakti and Raganuga sadhana bhakti. Vedehi sadhana bhakti is a sadhana bhakti in which one doesn't have a natural inclination to follow the rules and regulations. One is following the rules and regulations either out of the scriptural injunctions, because it's written, so I'm going to follow it, or it is because of the order of the spiritual master. So there is an element of surrender, but there is no element of spontaneous attachment. Just doing it because I have to do it. So following those regulations, then comes a stage called Raga Anuga Sadhana Bhakti. As the name suggests, Raga means attachment, Anu means following. So one becomes attached following the principles of Videhi Sadhana Bhakti. So chanting 16 rounds, getting up early in the morning, they don't become like a chore. Okay, so what happens after Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti? What happens? One comes to the stage of Bhava Bhakti or devotional service in ecstasy. One is practicing devotional service because one is very much in ecstasy. But then there comes a pure devotional service where ecstasy of Krishna is more important. So sadhana bhakti, the question that author is raising here is Bhava Bhakti is bhakti in ecstasy. Raganuga sadhana bhakti is also bhakti in happiness. Right? So why are the two separate? Why can't we just say there are 2 types, sadhana bhakti and prema bhakti? The answer is that bhava bhakti is the end goal of sadhana bhakti. So it cannot be included in it. It's end goal of sadhana bhakti. And also the bhava bhakti contains the direct realization of Krishna. This is the devotee is directly realizing Krishna. Okay, and then Prabhupada is explaining the definition of sadhana bhakti is practice of bhakti executed with senses, means working senses, and also the senses for acquiring knowledge. So Krishna, the senses are saturated with the thoughts of Krishna at the subtle level and also at the gross level. And that bhakti produces a stage of bhav, or it's called sadhana bhakti. This bhav is not artificially created, but is eternally existing, right? This Swami Prabhupada gives this example that sadhana bhakti, practice of sadhana bhakti, arises our natural inclination to serve Krishna. And Prabhupada explains that this is a natural inclination. It is not something which is artificial. What does it mean? He gives example of a child who has a natural tendency to walk, but just a little practice will bring that inclination out. But then there is also an annotation there that if a child does not have a tendency to walk, then they'll not walk. So in that way, it is really not a practice. It is just reviving of what is within us eternally anyway. Okay, so it's not like a practice. It's like there for us. So just stop me if you don't understand anything. And also he gives the benefit of sadhana bhakti. One is that this reviving the inclination which is dormant to serve Krishna. And the other is, he says that the conditioned soul is actually acting as a madman under the spell of the material modes of nature. It's like, just imagine like a magician casts a spell and then the person starts acting mad. This conditioned soul is acting like a madman under the spell of the material nature. But the practice of sadhana bhakti helps with curing of this madness and reestablishing our real nature, which is Satchidananda. So the essence of sadhana bhakti, I like this because it's like this divided into different subheadings. Essence of sadhana bhakti is what? What is the essence? To always remember Krishna and to never forget Krishna. Okay, so to always remember Krishna and to never forget Krishna. Narad Muni says somehow or other, one has to concentrate one's mind on Krishna. I'm not going in the details. So how do we do that? How does the spiritual master helps the disciple to fix the mind on Krishna? There's a duty of the spiritual master, right? Duty of the acharya to find ways and means to help one's disciple to fix mind on Krishna. Mahaprabhu gave us the powerful method of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra because Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting immediately attaches one's mind to Krishna. And we know this, Vedahi Sadhana Bhakti is devotional service according to regulatory principles. Raga Nuga Sadhana Bhakti is spontaneous devotional service rendered out of natural love and attachment. And we'll go over this. Vedahi Sadhana Bhakti is given a lot of emphasis. I don't know what all chapters, but I can actually look up. Out of 2 to 16, how many chapters are dedicated to Vedahi Sadhana Bhakti? So Videhi Sadhana Bhakti, again, it is not out of spontaneous attachment or natural taste of bhakti, but according to either two things, either the scriptural injunctions or the order of the spiritual master. One is following the footsteps of Videhi Sadhana Bhakti. And Prabhupada gives example of rising early in the morning, worshipping the deity, etc. Vedahi Sadhana Bhakti, the reference, is there a reference in Srimad Bhagavatam? Yes, there's a reference in Srimad Bhagavatam in 2nd canto, 1st chapter, verse 5, where Sukdev Goswami emphasized to Parikshit Maharaj, the one who desires to be free from all miseries and fears must hear about, glorify and remember Krishna, the super soul of all. You see, our Shastras don't talk like perhaps, maybe, consider. You know, in our day-to-day conversation, which is at the mental level, how do you know whether this is a conversation at the mental level or this is an absolute statement given in the Shastras or spiritual master? Is that we don't hear such vocabulary. Perhaps you can chant Hare Krishna and see if it helps you or not. No. The thing is, you must chant Hare Krishna. You must remember Krishna. Right? It's not like maybe if you chant Hare Krishna, your madness of material existence will be cured. No. To cure the madness of material existence, You must do this. So, so we don't talk like in this jugglery of words. You can hear Prabhupada's each and every lecture. He doesn't talk like that either. Very sure of what needs to be done. So that is why I think I personally derive inspiration to surrender in this zone, because it is a very verified process. Not everything or anything else is verified. And you go to a doctor, you're sick. You can take this medication, this is your diagnosis. Perhaps you will feel better. Not guarantee that you will feel better, right? So then there's a little bit of a discussion about what does vanquished mean. Anyone who becomes. So it says, I really like this statement because it says anyone who becomes. In material world, one is we are living a compartmentalized life in the out of Krishna consciousness. Actually, there is nothing out of Krishna consciousness, but just to understand the comparison, that we are living a compartmentalized life. We have compartmentalized people in different hierarchies, in different education, and it keeps getting complex, keeps getting complex, keeps getting complex. Right? You give me example of something like that in your experience. I need to hear this. I was talking to my students at work the other day, and I was saying that, listen, first of all, it is very hard to get into a. I was talking to them about their trajectory of journey of their career. It is very hard to get into a medical college. One thinks that, okay, when one enters the stream, then there is something to look forward to. Okay, and then after that, it is harder to get into the post graduation. So one gets into it and says, okay, now, there is some sort of a sense of direction. And the complexities of life will be reduced. This is what one thinks, right? I need to hear examples from you too. I'm telling you what I had a conversation with my residents the other day. I said, okay, but then if you work, then some of the people who does the post graduation want to go in the subspecialty, like fellowship, right? And then one thinks, okay, now my complexities of life have really, really reduced. There's some rasa, no, which pulls up living entity to something, like it is some rasa or some mellow that one derives out of that work. This is Rupa Goswami Prabhupada's statement. I'm not making this statement. That is deriving a person to do what they're doing. So, and then they get into that, and then it's really now, my chances of succeeding in life are really good because I've really become the topmost cream. Okay, but then I said, okay, I was trained in New York in Mount Sinai. I was telling that, but what happens there is that when such people get collected with each other, the topmost cream, they get collected, then there is push and pull at a very, very nitty-gritty level. There is a push and pull, very, very nitty-gritty level. It is supposed to, make one's life more straightforward and laid out, but actually it becomes more complex. As saying that in my training, I'm sorry if I'm boring, you can stop me. There were two pediatric ICUs. One was surgical, another was like medical and surgical, because we had such complex cases. We had like transplant children, bowel transplant, liver transplant. So okay, so over there we can see, okay, the PICU attendings, the ICU attendings will be like, okay, I am better than you because I can do nasotracheal intubation, not endotracheal. I am better than you because I can take care of this particular scenario in this. So it becomes very, very fine. So the material nature just casts its net in very subtle level, and our mind keeps on dragging us into it, thinking that it's going to be, this is the end of my suffering, this is the end, I have achieved the goal. No, but the qualities, the inherent qualities of six enemies of mind, the lust, anger, greed, envy, madness, illusion. So they actually become more and more amplified if they have not been worked at the root level. They become more and more amplified. So, but Krishna consciousness is I'm not saying don't become a top-notch person or study more. I'm not saying that. But also, the Krishna conscious person will be able to watch that where is that inherent quality going. Am I developing more and more attachment to Krishna, or am I developing more and more attachment to this push and pull forces which are dragging me? So that way, we always have a choice. A Krishna conscious person always has a choice what to pick because the modes are going to be acting. Each and every mode wants to become more and more prominent in our life. But a Krishna conscious person can visualize and say, okay, I'm not going to succumb to this. Now you give me an example. We all will have an example. Yes, Indra Dumna Das Prabhu, your name is first. Then Ambika Mataji, then Anviya Mataji.
The example, Hare Krishna Mataji. So the example you are asking is whatever level we achieve, still that modes are still are always attacking us, right?
Or why do you think Krishna consciousness is a superior way of life? Why not what the society, the hierarchy of the society which has been provided to us is served on the plate? No, here you go. This is the definition of your success. Is not the superior way of life. Even though it may appear like that because there are so many people doing that around us. This is what we see the most.
What I have experienced, Mataji, is like how big, like I was in the corporate life earlier, how big I become in, in take the high post or earning or what, that feeling of loneliness and feeling of uncertainty is always there.
The uncertainty. Okay, can be kicked out at any minute.
Oh, and that too, you're working in Middle East. There you lose your job, you lose your life. There's no permanent residency, there's no passports, nothing. And I lived that uncertainty. And there actually our Krishna consciousness grew a lot. Because everyone was so scared. And they were so rich because of all the tax-free money that they were getting and all the luxury that they were getting. And here in North America, we are living a life of a peasant, the laborer. But we are so happy that at least there is sense of security is there. I have seen that the example of a bird in the golden cage. Give that example. I think this example is there. We take care of the body, not of the soul. That analogy was there also. We were in a very artificial, different world, just taking care of the outside, but not of the inside. And we felt it. I felt it. It's never ending. There's uncertainty, there's competition, there's enviousness, there's uncertainty. The more you get, the more fearful you become of losing it.
Namnishra had said that this is how the greed works. He said, you see, they put the people in these fancy looking buildings of offices, and then they keep them tied in that place by giving them very nice food to eat, very nice coffee breaks, very nice snacks, right? So very nice sitting places to work. It says, but actually this is a prison house. It is actually extracting the real essence of human life. But this is how the greed, the more of passion, which is very self-centered, works. This is how the mind. So it's like for to say intentionally planned that way so that somebody is constantly in that stage of fear and will be able to will be in this road of rage to prove themselves, so they will provide their best abilities to a place and the other person will be exploiting. So this is slavery in a way.
It is, and it's one of the management practices very well adopted in the Middle East. They want to have competition among different departments, different people. There is a fear always there. Our own colleagues will be competing, will be having a lot of enviousness. The year-end bonus is a huge thing. There is a lot of competition for that. And like you were giving the example, the higher you go, your competition becomes within that circle.
Right.
Higher you go, okay, now you're the general manager level, or now you're in the vice president level, you're director level. Then you're competing, you're comparing yourself all the time with them. Oh, I can bring more values to the table. I can bring this many principal, this many clients, this many, bottom line. That is never ending, never ending. And in the end, who is gaining? The guy on the top, the owner who has done very smartly the structure. He has made everyone divide and rule, and making the finance against the function, and just to have a control and check. It was just not worth it. Just not worth it. And I tell you the biggest realization. Then I saw people who are retiring. They're always having stress-related diseases. Either they will have heart issues or diabetes or some other health-related issues. And I have seen people expire because of heart attacks or some other things. I said, what is this worth? Is it really worth for all these things? And by 60, you think you will retire rich in India, but you're losing your health, you're losing your everything.
Right.
Not worth it.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Ambika Mataji. Yes, Mataji, very quickly. Example.
Hare Krishna Mataji. My personal example is like that of yours only, Mataji, that when we finish our 12th standard, when we get into MBBS, we think that we are happy then. Then after a while, you realize that you are not actually. Then after some time, we'll think when we get a PG, post-graduation degree, then we will be happy. Even after that, we won't be. Then when you get into a private job, we think that by getting a government job, you'll be happy. But after I got into a government job, there are so many problems, Mataji. The frequent transfers, so many issues are there. But now I'm thinking when I retire, I'll be happy. I don't know. All the while, there are so many problems. We'll never be happy.
Yeah, because it's a mode of passion. No, everything is in the future. Passion, how does a person, karmi, keeps on working? They're compromising their present because they're chasing something which is in the future, but there is no guarantee. There is a competition. So that is why Krishna consciousness is a superior way of life, because it brings us back that you're supposed to be happy now in Krishna consciousness. Immediately. You chant Hare Krishna, you feel happy.
Yes,
Very nice.
Mataji.
Thank you. Anvya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Sadar Pranam. Sorry, I joined late. I was, just thinking 3 o'clock regular. So I really missed something nice.
Okay, share your.
Yeah, so actually what you said about the medical field, which I'm seeing just now in front of my eyes with Abhishek. So that example, I'll give you sometime. It is a very scary example. But then my personal example is, see, I'm not working, but then KC is definitely a higher way of life, because if you're not in KC, you want to please everyone around you. Okay, so that if everyone is pleased in the house, then you're also happy. Okay, if you see, I mean, that's my way.
Oh, nice.
Everyone should be pleased, but it never happens. Everyone is going to find faults.
So your
in you.
existence.
And
very nice. Okay.
And the other thing is, see, in KC, there is nothing to lose. See, now, if you are having what Srila Prabhupada told us, that you have good sattvic food, you have cow's milk only, buffalo's milk. So scientifically also you see that is good for health. If you are having fresh vegetables, fruits, and you don't have onion, garlic and all, so what's there to lose? Anyway, you're going to gain your health also, like Indradyumna Das Prabhuji said that you see after the age of 60, you see everyone, facing heart attacks or the diabetes or this. But here you also learn to control your senses. I mean, through your food, so many things can change. Some of the things like your anger. See, if
So
you're
let's stick
having
to the agenda. So the superior, you're saying from your life, the example is that even if you're not so-called working, you're working all the time basically, but so-called working according to the definition of the society, the validation of your existence is to be externally validated by other people's measure of happiness.
yes.
So, but in Krishna consciousness, it is like it's not like that, because Krishna is easy to please. Chant Hare Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is pleased. So,
Yes.
okay, very nice. Thank you. Okay, so this is like never becomes vanquished. So these are some of the practical things. Not like we have to become very exalted devotees. It's not even saying that only when somebody becomes a pure devotee of Krishna that they do not become vanquished. No. Remember, the statement is anyone who becomes a devotee of Krishna is never vanquished at any level of devotional service. And what is vanquished means that fall back into the cycle of 8,400,000 species. Can you believe, like, becoming like a jaguar and the forests are cutting down and then not having running around? Or it's the animal life is a fearful life, right? 6th canto Srimad Bhagavatam explains that animal life is a fearful life. There's always fear. So we don't get thrown back. It's such a big benediction. And what is the reference in Padma Puran? This is very nice. Some smartavya satatam Vishnu. Always remember Vishnu. Vishma travyo na jatuchit. Never forget Krishna or Vishnu. Sarva vidhi nishedhashur. All injunctions and prohibitions are based on this, dependent on these two rules. So what are the two rules? Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So that is the essence of Videhi Sadhana Bhakti. The essence of Videhi Sadhana Bhakti is to always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, and to actually do active devotional service by mind and working senses. So who is to follow the Videhi Sadhana Bhakti? Everyone, of all varnas, of all ashrams, everybody. It's not like, now there are subdivisions of all the ashrams as we go and study, like Prabhupada explains in 6th canto 4 kinds of sannyasis. Kutija, Parivragya, like I don't remember the 4 divisions, but he explains. So, but sadhana, Vedahi sadhana bhakti is to be practiced by all of them, even the highest level of sannyasi. And it never has to be given up, because for the rules and regulations are alive. You see, in Krishna consciousness, everything is alive. So if we follow the rules and regulations, the rules and regulations also help us to follow them, to advance, depending on one's consciousness. And if one does not follow, then what happens? Thus fails to follow or intentionally disrespects the Lord, then what happens? They will fall down from their position into hellish state of life. This is a very big statement, and if you don't do it, then you fall into the hellish position of life. Sounds more like a my way or a highway kind of a statement, but that's not what it means. It means that there is no other way. Okay, it's like if we have reached the end of a road and there is just one way, this is the only way. Don't look for something else. And this is a good way. It's not a way that is going to cost us too much, or actually it only makes us more and more evolved in our life at all levels. Result of sadhana bhakti. What is the result of sadhana bhakti? Krishna says, whoever worships me by methods prescribed in scriptures, one will attain perfection both in this life and next. So perfection in all desires. it's not that we have to change our position, change our occupation to follow the principles of sadhana bhakti. It's not even saying that. But follow wherever one is standing and then achieve perfection, which is a very it's a coded statement. There is so much to discuss underneath it, because generally a devotee is the same person wherever they are, when they are at home, when they're in temple, when they're at work, when they're out in the world. Doesn't matter. The same tendency which has been carried on, because the service to Krishna is not interrupted by their change of position, change of place. Yes, initially when we come to Krishna consciousness, we try to hide our activities in Krishna consciousness, thinking that, okay, I must not reveal this because this is my personal life, but my professional life is something else. But as the time goes by, one can see an overlap, right? Because I'm serving Krishna at home, I'm also going to serve Krishna by my devotion, by my work. And so I am in practicing Krishna consciousness very freely always, while raising a family, while doing your personal sadhana, while attending to your work responsibilities or your temple responsibilities, which is very crucial to understand. I only lately I've been seeing there are some temples in America where the temple presidents are like, I know in Baltimore, not in Baltimore, in Washington DC, the temple president is an anesthesiologist. Okay, so he actually is a full-time doctor at a hospital, and then he's a temple president. In Boston, temple president is also works. So he full-time he works, he raises his family from the money that he earns, but he's running Boston ISKCON Boston. And it is very hectic. It's not easy. I see Vandamali Prabhu, he gets up at 3 a.m. and finish with his chanting before Mangalarti. And he's like very pakka in it, because his minute to minute is packed with devotional service. Minute to minute, minute to minute, minute to minute. You sit with such devotees, and there is the qualities rub against each other. Huh? There is so much inspiration you derive. So how come, they're same, and they do really well. They do really well in their work also. I have seen it. Madhvacharya Prabhu in Baltimore is also an anesthesiologist. He's not a temple president, but he's very prominent devotee in their congregation and is excellent. My friend Chiti Shakti, I always talk about her, right? She's a psychiatrist. See, she's broadcasting in BBC about science, spirituality, in psychiatric world, in the world of psychiatry, and 350 billion people are hearing her twice a week, because they're welcome. When we become spiritually strong, then we become flexible to adopt to any environment we are brought to. When we are not spiritually strong, there is rigidity. Okay. Sadhana Bhakti is written in the Narad Pancharatra. The vidhi is how to perform Sadhana Bhakti is written over there, which we will be studying in subsequent chapters. But what happens when one performs such bhakti under the direction of a guru, one attains prema bhakti, which is the end goal. Sadhana Bhakti to Bhava Bhakti to prema bhakti, which is the end goal. Okay, this is the chapter summary. So what is the chapter? It starts with what are the divisions of the devotional service of the sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, prema bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is a bhakti in the practice. Bhava bhakti is bhakti in ecstasy, and prema bhakti is bhakti in pure love of Krishna. Sadhana bhakti has 2 characteristics, bhava bhakti has 4, and prema bhakti has 6. Sadhana bhakti, 2 characteristics, 2 types, Videhi sadhana bhakti and Raganuga sadhana bhakti. We are talking about Videhi sadhana bhakti right now. So what is the definition of Videhi sadhana bhakti? What is the essence of Videhi sadhana bhakti? Who can perform Videhi sadhana bhakti? What is the end result of performing Videhi sadhana bhakti? This is what is discussed. So I would request go back and read this chapter again after hearing this. Any questions?
Mataji, I have one question.
Yeah.